フルカウンター
Alright lads, welcome back to the RAGNAROK video. So boys, Ragnarok is founded in global, and if you don't know something about me, I just love 7ES as a franchise, a story. I just love all the characters. So now that the anime is ended, and we've now had basically 2 years of content in RAGNAROK coming with just new story every 2 months is super sick, and I'm really looking forward to it. Watch my breakdown video for the actual Ragnarok trailer. We're going to do exact same thing here and break down all the little story, little details that they have dropped. So if you did skip through it, or you don't want to actually read all the dialogue, then it should be a quick and easy compact video for you to understand the story going forward, so you can have some knowledge of it. And I should preface by saying this: I'm not too much knowledgeable on like Norse mythology stuff, so there are gonna be some things I missed. So do leave a comment if you think I did miss something. But I have some knowledge a little bit, but like we'll see where we go forth. But yeah, boys, hope you enjoy it. We're gonna jump in. I'm not making the video too long. If you're new, subscribe. We're doing RAGNAROK content and high quality RAGNAROK content every single day. So let's jump in. Okay, so the story starts with them already in Yggdrasil. They already got transported. This actually takes place later on, and we kind of go back in time a little bit to kind of develop the story a little bit more. But it does start with Grimnar actually speaking. He talks as her years already passed by 2, and on the 3rd year, the Sins will show up. So he kind of knew they're already going to show up. So makes you wonder how he knew that and why the Sins got teleported in the first place. And yeah, you're going to notice throughout the video that Grimnar is very sus, boys. He's something's up, but I think it's revealed towards the end who he actually is, and all the hints throughout the video, so stay tuned for that, boys. But yeah, that's how it kind of starts off. Okay, so now moving on to Sigurd. This is something subtle, but I want to point it out. It was this little dialogue here. But if the properties are true, when this long winter ends, it kind of stops. Clearly there's something up, he's clearly following something, but the weird thing that Ragnarok did here was, this typically you have to click to continue the text, but this one automatically does it for you. You can see I don't have auto on, but look how quick it ends. Clearly Netmother wanted to show it to you lot, but like not just like linger there so you don't fully read it, and you may have missed it when you first watch it. So yeah, that's something to point. Okay, so another line that kind of caught my eye was the fact that Sigurd did say demons should only be in Jotunheimer. That's, I believe, how you pronounce it, outside of Ymi's eyelashes. AFT anyone, Ymi, it's kind of funny. But this is the first time I believe Jotunheim has been announced, and I believe from what I saw later on and from what I read online, Jotunheim is the land of the giants, or the home of the giants. But in this universe, I believe there's demons and werebeasts there too. So my theory was right. I'll probably throw up like a little clip right here. So this scene's got me confused. It might just be for the trailer, but you can see some earth stuff moving, which in lore-wise for 70S, only the giants could do that. So this could be a possible hint towards a new giant coming to the game. Once again, could just be something just, you know, just they did. But I just want to point out just in case it does happen. I did predict at this point here, you can see outside where it's not actually snowing, that there's like moving rocks, which could be a coincidence, but in the 70th universe, only giants could like control the earth, so that's why I kind of suspected that we may see giants in this universe. And yeah, I'm glad my theory was kind of right. Okay, so moving back to MELIODAS, he was mentioned or referred to as the evil dragon reincarnated, so we don't know nothing about this. I believe there's only 1 or 2 times it was brought up, but I do expect we may see something about this later on. Obviously, it kind of plays a big part towards Sigurd, and maybe we see a actual boss fight later on. Maybe this new knighthood boss that's supposed to come in the future could be this new dragon. Okay, then we do jump over to the first actual crazy cutscene between the fight between MELIODAS and Sigurd, and yeah, as you can see, he does use the extort ability here, where he drains MELIODAS, King, and obviously Barn, but for some reason he doesn't drain. I guess he maybe he's not fighting Diane, but Diane and Elizabeth don't get drained. But from the looks of it, Elizabeth is somewhat taking effect here, so not really too sure how to say, like, kind of go down here. Maybe just something they just chose to do, or if he can only affect males or like certain races. I don't really know, because if he didn't affect the giant, and there are giants in the future, then maybe Diane could play a key part here. Just some speculation, but I'm not really too sure here. Fenrir then ended up running out of tavern because apparently Sigurd's after him. We don't really know why. We never learn in this chapter, because this chapter, or this fight, does take place a little bit further in the future when we start following on some stuff later on. But this is the first announcement of, you know, Fenrir trying to find his dad. More information later. But yeah, Sigurd for some reason is after Fenrir. We don't know why just yet, but there's definitely some lore between these two. So Sigurd does end up winning against the 3, and typical anime fashion, they want to introduce a massive villain that's like super strong, that actually does defeat the Sins. And yeah, you may have won and kind of killed MELIODAS in a sense, but if Oslo didn't come and save the gang, and yeah, look at Oslo, he's a good boy. Meliodas then ends up fating off the fight between Sigurd, and we get a little flashback between a random library with the Book of Yggdrasil. Now, we have seen a spoiler because in that trailer they do show a massive portal open up. It doesn't show up in this chapter, so I expect it to be next chapter. But we do know something's up here because why would the book randomly fall, and why would it get randomly transported? Makes you wonder a little bit why we started off with Grimnar talking about the sins getting transported to this universe. So yeah, something's definitely up, boys. We then get a flashback within a flashback of Meliodas reading the book to Elizabeth. So both Melly and Elizabeth have read this book, and we do get some more flashbacks later on. But yeah, it just may be important later on because they may remember what happens in the book and how to somewhat stop it, because essentially it is a story that we're following, basically. Jumping forward a little bit more, Melly does wake up, and all the sins wake up, actually. All of them are here since they were all most likely in the ball hat when they all got teleported, and Escanor was missing or in trouble, and it does mention later on that the reason why he doesn't have his daytime form, where it's like fully bulked up, is because the sun is actually being blocked. Since it is a winter, there's no sun, which means Escanor cannot get his powers, so they're clearly teasing for something massive coming later on. Now, we have seen before Escanor doesn't need actual sun, because Merlin is his son, basically, so he can still access power if he needs to at some point. With nothing to do, the Sins do set up shop in the Bull Hat and open up the tavern to more people to come in, and they kind of mimic the start of the 70s, I guess, storyline, where you have the people talking, kind of referencing the Sins a little bit, but in this storyline, they're talking about Thor, and they do mention Thor as a natural female, so I thought that was kind of interesting, where she's not known to be a male, she's actually known by everyone to be a female, not like a little twist towards everyone else. And then Grimnar does reference the actual Loki story, so clearly, once again, knows too much stuff. He's a sus guy, lads. And in same fashion here, Fenrir does fall in the tavern, like how Elizabeth did. And something I want to point out was kind of nice, once again. They know what they're doing, and they do get a little flashback between Elizabeth, where she does walk in. So I thought it was kind of nice, because once again, just love the story. So seeing Meliodas and Elizabeth like look at each other was kind of sweet. Moving on, we do see Fenrir in a daze really calls Meliodas dad, which is super weird why he did this. And yeah, clearly hints towards Loki somewhat looking like Meliodas in some way. Now, it's kind of strange because Loki, I believe, is a giant or supposed to be one. So being that short like Meliodas can be super weird. And yeah, I'm not really too sure where to go for here. But this is like a massive tease, and we end up seeing Loki. He's going to resemble at least Meliodas a little bit, maybe even Zeldris, who even knows. But yeah, very curious if we're going to get like an evil Meliodas in some sense here, or is he evil? Because they do hint towards that later on. We then get the kind of a callback to what we just saw beforehand, where Fenrir is actually trying to find his dad, and he's gone missing, which is kind of strange, but some more details later on. And then in same fashion, really, we do get our first villain, like how we did last time, where Twiggo knocks in the tavern, where this guy kind of shows up out of nowhere, who I believe is the same voice actor. It sounds almost identical, and he's clearly like a, you know, the Viking version of Twiggo. It looks like him, sounds like him. It's like clearly a reference towards him, and yes, same thing happens, boys. He gets absolutely slapped by Meliodas, but I do like what he done here. Like, they're just mimicking the start of 70th, which is so sick, so I'm a big fan of it. Go back into the tavern. Everyone's kind of left after the guy got defeated because they were scared of him. And then we do see that Grimnar did stay around a little bit weird already. He knows a little bit too much already about the group. He knows too much about the land. He knows too much stuff, basically. So definitely a little bit sus. But just moving on, just some 70s lore, really, or like just like kind of character building up and showing that Netmo knows how to write these characters. Is we do see that Deanna and King whispering, which I thought was so sick and kind of cute as well. Just you know, true to the characters. And Escanor's forward just writing down notes because he knows how to speak. He's a poet, really. Was just this scene had it's so much. It just screams 70s, man. I did love it. So at least we know going forth that, you know, the Netmarble know how to write the characters. And yeah, just looking forward towards the scenes, man. They're super sick. They then talk about Loki being missing in a little more detail, and for someone who knows a lot, I guess Grimnar didn't know about Loki having a son, which is Fenrir, which I don't think is his biological son. I think he made him or something like that, and like lore-wise, not too sure how it's gonna work out in this lore, in this universe, but yeah, Grimnar didn't know anything, so that's something to point out. Okay, so next scene got me super excited, especially when I saw it during my stream. The kind of reason why I want to make this video is that we do see THONAR. She made a little appearance early on, but she now comes out to help the people in need. And boys, I mean, it's so obvious. She called for the Hammer of Justice. She clearly used Thor, so massive plot twist. I mean, super annoying that 70s, the Twitter account did spoil it, because I thought a typo, which is super weird. But as you can see, she does call for the Hammer, Monia, and yeah, it doesn't come. So Clearly, she looks a lot different. She's a redhead where maybe she dyed it, or where she does actually wield Mjolnir and gets like struck by lightning. She does like change forms completely, maybe puts on a whole new outfit. And kind of wonder why she'll be fighting Escanor later on. Maybe it's like a little tournament edition thing where they do. But bro, it's this here made me super excited for the future of this like series. And yeah, later on they do reference it a little bit more again. If we do know Thor as a female, they do say they're gonna worship Thor rather than Loki, and she does blush up a little bit more because obviously she is Thor. So bro, I want to use her now in PvP, but like she's a little bit dead. Some dialogue between THONAR and obviously Grimnar, where he does outright just say you kind of resemble, or like your fighting style is too much like, you know, God of Thunder 4. So I mean, once again, he knows too much. He clearly knows who it is, and makes you wonder who actually Grimnar actually is. But yeah, just something I want to point out. I mean, we know who it is, but it's kind of weird for him to know who she is, because, you know, typical storyline stuff, he knows too much. Jumping forward, we do get some more little lore drop, and from the looks of it, is Loki's being blamed for all the bad things that the humans are doing. And once again, it's kind of paralleling a little bit to what the 70s story was, where the Sins were blamed for Zarathus's death and they were the traitors, where now it looks like, you know, Loki is the traitor and the one being blamed. And I'll put a screenshot now, you can see it, is the Giants from Jotunheim is calling Loki a traitor. So clearly they're kind of setting up the same gimmick here, where Loki actually is a good guy, and Fenrir once again stresses a lot of times throughout the story that Loki isn't a bad person, he's just being blamed for a lot of things. So once again, we've seen how 7DS turned out. Loki actually probably is a good guy, but being blamed for a lot of stuff. Okay, so jumping forward a little bit more, we do go to a new village, and we do get to see a new guy called Father Valley, or Priest Valley, who is a weird person. He looks quite supported just from his model alone, like he looks a lot different to other characters. But then weirdly enough, we do get to see Grimnar recognize him for some reason. Once again, leading to what I got to say later on. But when you do search a valley and the person's actual name, he is one of Odin's son, and he does a lot of stuff in Odin's name, so once again, a little bit weird. But we do see later on that he does refer to his minions as useless humans, which, if you weren't a human, you wouldn't say human, or you wouldn't call other people humans. So clearly he is not a human and does have some power. So once again, probably one of the gods, you know, Odin's son, and something weird to point out, right? Later, we do get a lore drop for the fact that Jotunheim is the home of giants, werebeasts, and demons. And then later on, we do get to see the giants in action come to the new village. And good lord, lads, I mean, bro, we all want them in the game. Please, Netmarble. We have Red Deanne, who boosts up giants like damage, but that only really works for draw, because Matrona doesn't work at PvP. Aaron takes a while to transform. We need more giants, and the best way to do that is to add, you know, other giants that are in this universe. So these two are probably going to be like a fan favorite, especially the ultimates were quite funny. So yeah, Netmarble, please add them to the game. So some lore drop here is the fact that Fenrir is known to be a coward, and like I showed you early on, they do refer to him as Loki's traitorous son. So Loki clearly being a traitor, same gimmick like I mentioned early on with Zarathustra and the Sins. Okay, so heading towards the end now, we are introduced to a mysterious little girl who can predict the future, and the Sins are now tasked to find her. She was sent out of the village for like a week, I believe it was, and then since she did leave her little like a scarf or something, Fenrir's sense of smoke was able to find her. And then when we did find her, she did say, "Oh, I knew you would come," because she can predict the future. And I do believe her name is called Shou, I think, because from the data mine, it's not actually mentioned in game, but from the data mine, they do have her name as Shou, so that might be a name if anyone knows anything to do with her. But she is going to play a massive part in the storyline, and she is a playable character too. You can see the actual artwork I showed a while ago now. When you have her actual artwork, it's not in game just yet, but she will be a playable character. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to implement her prediction of the future. It's going to be weird, because they kind of, I don't know, bro, it's going to be interesting though. I'm looking forward to it. So after the confrontation in the village, they do head home to the tavern, and they do drop a massive plot point to kind of lead into season 2, or I guess chapter 2, is Fenrir does smell a bit of Loki on Grimnar, and he kind of freaks out. And yeah, if you've been following him like I've been mentioned, clearly Grimnar knows too much. He's clearly just, he can't be trusted. And yeah, it does turn out that most likely Grimnar actually is Odin. How do we know this? Because if you actually Google it, you can tell that Grimnar is one of Odin's actual names. So yeah, that kind of gives it away. But like we've seen so far, he did know the fact that, you know, THONAR was one of, you know, was Thor. He knew that Valley, once again, if Valley is one of Odin's sons, he recognized him. He knows way too much about the land. He knows too much about the Sins. Clearly he is. And I believe at one point, shout out to Superior Steelman on the Reddit, apparently did put, I missed it twice, but apparently in the story he does refer to Odin as missing one eye. So clearly if you look at Grimnar, he's covering one of his eyes. So clearly he's Odin. It's so obvious. And apparently his little raven symbol is also a symbol to Odin too. So yeah, it's very obvious. It wasn't trying to hide it, but I knew straight away looking at him he's gonna be a little like, he's gonna be something like you can't trust him. But yeah, boys, that is it. Kind of ends on show, just pokes up and then bullet ends. So yeah, overall the story I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. It was almost perfect. I think one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit was the fact that at the start we jumped straight into the Sigurd fight. I think they could have ended off in that fight. I don't know why they kind of split up, because if you don't know, where we end off right now is where Sigurd comes. So it's gonna be so confusing. I think that if they ended off with the Sigurd fight, that would have been a lot better. I don't know why they kind of like split up the story, because it was very confusing how they got there. But yeah, overall, man, the character's introduction was sick. I can't wait to see how things turn out. But yeah, boys, that is kind of it for today's video. So hope you did enjoy it. A lot of effort went to this one, and yeah, I'm just excited for it, man. So yeah, let me know if there's anything I missed, or if there's anything that I kind of overlooked a little bit, and I'll give it a pin if it's actually important, or give you a like as well. So yeah, man, I'm curious of what you have to say. Boys, thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure. Peace.